She was Hollywood's shining star, young, innocent, and full of dreams. But lurking in the shadows was a darkness no fame could illuminate. One obsessed fan's fixation would turn admiration into terror, and a bright, promising life into a chilling nightmare that would shake Hollywood to its core. Rebecca Schaeffer was just 21, yet her presence lit up every room she entered, with a natural talent for acting and a charm that captivated directors and audiences alike. She was a rising force in Hollywood. Television and film roles began to line her resume, each one hinting at the star she was destined to become. Beyond her talent, there was an innocence to her, a warmth and openness that made her relatable, adored by fans and colleagues alike. In a world filled with ambition and shadows, Rebecca's bright light seemed untouchable. Yet fate had darker plans. Waiting Los Angeles in the late 1980s shimmered with neon lights, red carpet premieres, and endless dreams. The city promised fame and fortune to anyone bold enough to chase it. For Rebecca Schaeffer, it was a world of opportunity, auditions, and bright studios filled with excitement. Yet beneath the glittering surface, shadows lingered unseen, silent and waiting. The streets that celebrated ambition also hid danger. Fame made stars visible, but it also made them vulnerable. Anonymous admirers could become obsessed. Attention could twist into fixation, and admiration could turn deadly. In Hollywood, the line between dreams and nightmares was thin, and the glittering lights could never fully reveal what stalked in the darkness. For Rebecca, every smile and every role she embraced drew her closer to adoration, but also unknowingly toward the sinister eyes of someone who would stop at nothing to possess. For Robert Bardo, fascination with Rebecca began quietly, almost inaudible, but there was something unsettling beneath his admiration. What started as distant curiosity soon escalated into letters notes, filled with praise that bordered on obsession. At first, they seemed harmless, mere fan mail, yet each one revealed a growing fixation, a mind consumed by someone else's life. Bardo learned her routines, her appearances, and her public schedule, silently mapping her days from afar. The excitement of Hollywood, with its bright lights and constant attention, shielded Rebecca from the creeping danger she could not yet see. Behind the glitter of fame, a dark presence watched, calculating, patient, and unwavering. Each unopened envelope, each polite glance from a stranger in the crowd, brought her closer to a nightmare that would shatter her world and expose the terrifying reality that obsession can hide in plain sight. Waiting for the perfect moment to strike, Robert Bardo's fixation on Rebecca Schaeffer deepened, growing darker and more relentless with each passing day. No longer satisfied with letters and distant admiration, he began following her, appearing where she least expected. Every audition, every public appearance, every small movement was observed, recorded, and memorized. The tension escalated as his obsession became a shadow, creeping closer with alarming persistence. Friends and colleagues noticed subtle signs: Rebecca's sudden unease, the cautious way she moved through crowds, a sense that someone might be watching. The glamour of Hollywood could not shield her from this invisible threat. With each step Bardo took, the danger tightened its grip, creating an atmosphere thick with fear and suspense. The city's lights, that once promised dreams, now highlighted vulnerability, and a young actress, radiant and full of promise, was unknowingly being drawn into a nightmare that would leave an indelible mark on her life and the world around her. Slowly, Rebecca began to sense that something was wrong. Small, unsettling moments started to creep into her life. Stranger lingering too long near her car, letters arriving that felt more intrusive than innocent, the eerie feeling of eyes following her every move. At first, she tried to dismiss it, attributing the fear to her imagination or the pressures of Hollywood life. Yet the unease persisted, growing heavier with each passing day. The warmth and excitement of her career now carried a shadow of anxiety. Every knock at the door, every unexpected call, stirred a subtle panic she could not shake. Her once carefree world now contained invisible threats, and a young actress, radiant and promising, felt the fragile line between admiration and danger begin to blur. Each day brought a chilling reminder that fame, while shining bright, could also attract darkness. Recognizing the growing threat, Rebecca took steps to protect herself, trying to regain a sense of control over her life. She changed her routines, varying the times she left her apartment, double-checking locks, and avoiding predictable patterns that might make her an easier target. Yet, no matter how cautious she became, a gnawing vulnerability remained. Hollywood's bright lights and constant exposure offered little sanctuary. Every street, every crowd, carried the potential of unseen eyes. Her precautions provided a fragile shield, but the sense of danger lingered relentlessly, an invisible weight pressing on her. Friends noticed her anxiety, her once carefree laughter now tempered with caution. Even with safety measures in place, the shadow of obsession followed her relentlessly. A silent predator, waiting for the smallest opportunity. Despite all her efforts, Rebecca could not escape the chilling reality that sometimes vigilance alone is not enough to stay safe. Robert Bardo's obsession had grown into something far more dangerous. A relentless fixation that refused to be ignored. No longer content with mere observation, he studied Rebecca's every movement with an intensity that sent invisible shivers through her life. Each public appearance, each trip to a store or studio, was a calculated opportunity for him to be closer, to know more. The atmosphere thickened with tension as the audience could feel the looming threat, the sense that a tragedy was inevitable. Rebecca's every precaution now seemed inadequate, a fragile barrier against an implacable force. Hollywood's bright streets could not hide her from the shadow that stalked her, invisible yet terrifyingly close. The sense of anticipation grew unbearable, each moment carrying the weight of impending disaster. It was a slow, terrifying march toward a night that would forever change the course of her life. July 18th, 1989, began like any other summer evening in Los Angeles, warm and seemingly ordinary. Rebecca Schaeffer returned home after a day filled with auditions and work, unaware that this night would become a turning point. The city hummed with life outside her apartment: traffic, distant laughter, neon signs flickering, but inside, a quiet tension settled, a calm that belied the horror waiting just beyond her doorstep. Unseen and patient, Robert Bardo closed in, his presence masked by the city's noise, every calculated step bringing him closer. The ordinary rhythm of her evening, simple routine, a gentle winding down, was about to collide with unimaginable danger. For Rebecca, nothing seemed out of place. For the audience, every detail, the quiet streets, the locked doors, the shadows stretching long in the lamplight, hinted at a tragedy lurking, ready to erupt in a moment that would shock the world. Rebecca Schaeffer, unaware of the danger that waited mere steps away, opened her apartment door that evening. The ordinary act of welcoming herself home became the opening to a nightmare. In that instant, the calm of her evening shattered. Robert Bardo, driven by obsession, stepped into her life in the most violent way imaginable, ending the bright, promising life of a young actress adored by so many. The world outside continued in oblivious rhythm, but inside, a single moment had turned into irrevocable tragedy. The loss was immediate, shocking, and incomprehensibly. Life filled with dreams, laughter, and potential extinguished in seconds. Hollywood, fans and loved ones, would soon grapple with the horror, the disbelief, and the sorrow. Yet even amid the tragedy, the story remained chillingly clear. Obsession, unchecked, can turn admiration into deadly fixation, and innocence is powerless against such darkness. The news of Rebecca Schaeffer's murder sent shockwaves through Hollywood and beyond. Fans, who had once admired her radiant smile and captivating talent, were now plunged into grief and disbelief. Colleagues and friends struggled to comprehend that someone so young, so full of promise, could be taken in an instant. Media outlets erupted with coverage, dissecting every detail, every possible motive. While the public grappled with fear and outrage, streets that once felt safe to her fellow actors now seemed menacing. A reminder of how fleeting security can be. In homes across the country, people mourned not just a star, but a symbol of innocence, lost to obsession and violence. The air was thick with sorrow and unanswered questions, and the tragedy left a lingering tension, an unsettling reminder that fame can draw danger in its wake, and that even the brightest lives can be shattered in a heartbeat. Hollywood reeled in the wake of Rebecca Schaeffer's murder. The industry, normally consumed with premieres, auditions, and gossip, paused to confront a chilling reality. Fame could not protect one from obsession. Media outlets bombarded the public with stories, interviews, and speculation, each report amplifying the shock and grief. Colleagues shared memories of Rebecca's warmth, her talent, and her infectious energy, painting a portrait of a young woman whose life was cut tragically short. Fans mourned collectively, leaving flowers and notes outside her apartment, a citywide vigil of sorrow and remembrance. The discussions went beyond mourning. Hollywood began questioning its own culture. How did fame, accessibility, and the illusion of closeness allow such danger to thrive? Behind the glitz and glamour, a sobering truth emerged. Admiration could turn deadly, and even the most innocent lives were vulnerable. The tragedy sparked a ripple of fear, awareness, and calls for protection in an industry that had long ignored its hidden shadows. As the shock of Rebecca Schaeffer's murder settled over Hollywood, law enforcement sprang into action. Detectives meticulously retraced her final movements, piecing together the fragments of a life abruptly stolen. Robert Bardo, the man whose obsession had crossed into murder, became the focus of a tense and urgent investigation. Every letter, every recorded interaction, and every clue he had left behind was analyzed with precision. The detectives faced a race against time, determined to bring justice for a young life lost too soon. Each step in the investigation revealed the chilling depth of Bardo's fixation, his meticulous planning, and the terrifying patience that had allowed him to shadow Rebecca unnoticed. The suspense was palpable. How had someone so dangerous gone undetected, and what had driven him to commit such an unthinkable act? As the case unfolded, the tension gripped not just the authorities, but the public, waiting for answers and justice. Robert Bardo was swiftly arrested, ending his immediate threat but opening a new chapter of grief and tension. The trial that followed became a courtroom drama, exposing the depths of his obsession and the terrifying reality of Rebecca Schaeffer's final days. Evidence, testimonies, and chilling details painted a clear picture of premeditation, fueling both outrage and sorrow. The public watched as justice unfolded, yet no verdict could undo the loss of a bright, promising life. When Bardo was ultimately convicted and sentenced to life in prison, a measure of accountability was achieved, but the emotional scars remained. Hollywood and fans alike grappled with a mixture of relief and lingering unease, realizing that fame could not shield innocence from obsession. The courtroom closure provided answers, but it could never replace Rebecca's presence, her dreams, or the void left by a young life stolen in its prime. Rebecca Schaeffer's story is more than a tragic tale, it is a haunting reflection on the dangers of obsession and the fragility of safety, even for those in the brightest spotlight. Her murder forced a nation to confront uncomfortable truths. Admiration can twist into fixation, and fame offers no shield against a mind consumed by obsession. The shadows that lurk behind public adoration are often invisible until it is too late. As we remember Rebecca, we are left questioning not only the vulnerability of celebrities, but of anyone who could become the target of relentless obsession. Could this happen to someone you know? Could admiration unchecked and unmonitored escalate into a nightmare? The chilling answer lingers in the mind, a reminder that danger can hide in plain sight, waiting patiently, and that vigilance, awareness, and legal protections are not just precautions. They are essential shields against unseen threats. Rebecca Schaeffer's tragic death sparked nationwide change, leading to anti-stalking laws and heightened public awareness. Her legacy endures not just in her work, but in the protections her story inspired. She remains a symbol of innocence, lost, and a haunting reminder of the hidden dangers obsession can bring. Rebecca's life ended too soon, leaving a chilling reminder. Fame cannot shield from obsession, and danger often hides unseen.